Welcome to Alive Therapy's mini talk on being human. Today I want to talk to you about emotional regulation versus suppression or containment of emotions. In our culture or in our specific upbringing, a lot of the information we may interpret as truth has fed the belief that being able to regulate our emotions in a healthy way means we don't have certain emotions. So maybe we were called too sensitive and made the decision that it wasn't okay to be sad. And so every time we felt sadness, we felt bad or wrong or broken. Or another example, maybe we were told that we were really, really strong, that we kept a cool head in hard situations. And so when anger would arise, we would suppress it and feel shame, like something was wrong with us for even having the feeling broken. Or we grew up in a family where we were around abusive or destructive anger, and we vowed to never be that or do that in our lives. So we shut off anger, believing anger is unhealthy. These beliefs can lead us to feel like we are crazy, trying to present to the world and to the people around us in one way, and really just trying to hold it together inside. The reality is that containing or suppressing emotions isn't normal, and nor is it healthy. How can it be when we're wired to feel emotions, when we're wired to feel all of them, the full spectrum of emotions? Feeling sadness and anger is just as normal and natural and organic as feeling happy or grateful. Our nervous system is wired to allow emotions to run through us. It's our minds that stop us from finding healthy expressions or outlets for anything that arises. It's our minds that stop us from releasing it, letting it run through our system. It's the harsh inner critic in us that tells us what is okay to feel and what is unacceptable. We start to view some emotions as our enemies, bracing against them, stuffing them, fighting them, hating them, wanting them to leave forever. In our minds, in our culture, it is this idea that not having certain feelings is good emotional regulation. If you're not sad or angry, then you have good emotional regulation. But that isn't regulation at all. That's containment. That's suppression. I was led into my very first career field because I carried these beliefs about certain feelings. I was told that I was emotionally strong. But what I really was emotionally cut off. I went into the scientific field consciously as far away from feelings as I could get because I was in that conflict from a very young age of presenting one way and feeling completely different on the inside. I immersed myself in science and actually used that to go into the field of emergency response because, I could handle it. I would consistently find myself in these really hard and charged situations and hold the expectation for myself that I had to deal with it by myself. That there was something wrong with me for feeling this way, and I had to figure it out. It's important to note here that nobody else in my life or around me was telling me not to feel. By this point, I was doing this to myself. The beliefs were so ingrained, the inner critic so strong, that I kept myself in this impossibly harmful cycle. I also want to point out that this is what I was seeing all around me. All of the people around me were also containing their emotions. So I felt like the crazy one inside. I felt really alone. So I tried to figure it out. I relied on my mind to try to find a solution to get rid of the feelings. And believe me, if there was a way to do it, I would have figured it out, my friends. The answer, however, wasn't about getting rid of feelings, because that really isn't possible. The answer is learning how to cultivate a different relationship with my emotions, and especially those unacceptable ones. Learning how to tolerate them and learning ways to let them release or run through me. Releasing my uncomfortable emotions is still something I don't get excited about, meaning it isn't organic, even after years of doing it. You see, I have to make the conscious decision to do it every damn time. I have to stay connected to my body, able to recognize when an emotion hits, give myself grace to the knowing that emotions are going to happen. Instead of trying to control them, I can take control of what to do with them. And I no longer make them my enemy. I have a deeper awareness that uncomfortable and hard emotions are really a much younger, wounded part of me calling out for love. So sometimes just that acknowledgement is enough to dissipate the intensity of the feeling, and that's enough. And sometimes I have to find a way to let them run through my system. Yelling in my car or in a pillow, throwing a tantrum on my bed, letting myself sob in a fetal position, hitting a punching bag. Learning to release in a healthy way where nothing or no one gets hurt, myself included. This is emotional regulation. And it does not come to me naturally. It doesn't come to most people naturally. This is a muscle that we have to build. It is a neural pathway that we have to create. And I see this way, the way that we are wired, how we have it in us to be able to regulate our emotions. And we can see this in children. I see this in my youngest child. The tantrums thrown, the outbursts of emotion that can be overwhelming to us or baffling to us or inconvenient or uncomfortable for us. That is just them moving through the emotion. And the great thing about it is that they do. On the other side of that wave of emotion, they continue on. They get back to whatever it is that they want or need to be doing, whether it's playing or eating or whatever it is. They let it move through them. And this is what we need to get back to. For some of us, coming back to it. And for others who never had the space to do this, even as a child, it is a complete learning. It's all the way back to starting from zero and really learning how to do this. The fear in doing this can be feeling out of control, letting the emotions take over you and really not being able to come back. And I hear this from my clients almost every day. The reality is that if we can learn to give it the space and the acknowledgement that it deserves, we can move through the feeling so much faster and then have more space and room to have greater clarity, to feel more in control and not be more bogged down with accumulated feelings and not have all of our energy going into keeping our containment system sealed. The reality is that if we are human, then feelings happen. But what we choose to do with them is up to us. As always, there are so many ways to work with this through the practices in this app and elsewhere. Just find your way. More to come, and bye for now.